I'm off to cook a plant-based meal for people who don't typically eat plant-based.
But I have no idea what that actually means.
Let's see how it goes.
I'm very excited to try it.
So this is a tofu chocolate mousse tart. These are Thai tacos.
This feels almost foreign to me to be sauteing vegetables and not having a butter or an oil in there. I have never made tacos like this before.
So this is a fail. Did you like dark chocolate? Because if not, you're having it tonight.
That's me, the newbie, the newbie tofu cook. Okay, 10 minutes at 400. That is so yummy.
It smells like meat.
Oh, the color is transforming before our very eyes.
Oh, that is very delicious.
That's delicious. I like the spices.
Welcome back to Plant Based with Jeremy if you're new to the channel. Typically on this channel we do a lot of plant-based things like recipe reviews from cookbooks. We do a lot of my own recipes. I do some informational videos as well as interviews with other people who have lost weight and gone whole food plant-based like myself. But today I'm doing something I've never done before. I am going to cook a dinner party for 6 people who do not traditionally eat plant-based. And I don't even really know these people. So it's gonna be interesting. I got hooked up to doing this through my cousin for a charity called Michael House. And I'm gonna let Karen, who is hosting this party, tell you more about that when we get there. But I'm gonna, I'm a little nervous because you never know how people are gonna react. But I'm making some dishes that I think are some of my all-too go-to dishes that I think people will just love. And they want a bit of a cooking lesson too, the people that arrive. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know down below if you were making a plant-based dinner party for somebody, what dishes you would include. Or if you just like watching this channel and my recipes, what of my recipes you would include. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so now. Otherwise, let's get to the dinner party. So we're in Karen's kitchen and I took over and I made a giant mess of it. I apologize.
Oh, it's good. Make yourself at home.
So I wanted you to tell us quickly about Michael House and what the organization does.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Jeremy. So Michael House is an organization where we support single mothers and their children. So we have a variety of programs. We have 2 different locations. One location is for the young women that are pregnant, at risk of homelessness, don't have family support and need help through a pregnancy or when they first have a brand new baby. And then our second location is called supportive housing. So we have 8 2-bedroom apartments that the moms can come and live in with their children. And we really work hard to get them goal oriented. So do they need to go back to school? What is their work plan? Life skills, budgeting is a huge thing. Affordable housing these days is a massive concern. So we just have them and we love on them and care for them and their children and have lots of fun and lots of challenges along the way. But it's a really, really great organization.
Awesome. Well, if you're interested in learning more or even potentially donating, I'm going to put a link down in the description below that you can check out. The dinner is going to consist of a clamless chowder soup, and then we're going to have Thai tacos. Which is something I made recently for the channel, but we're going to switch it up today. My son had an idea to use peaches instead of mangoes. And since it's kind of the end of peach season, we thought we'd do that.
That's awesome.
And then for dessert, we're going to have a chocolate cream pie that we're going to start off by making that. We're going to make a raw tart. So we're going to be combining pecans with a little bit of coconut sugar. And if we need to, we'll put a little bit of coconut oil in. I try to avoid oil in my cooking. But it depends on how oily the pecans are.
Okay.
If you roasted these in advance, you could probably make them oilier. But we'll touch them and see if they bind together. If not, a little bit of coconut oil.
Okay. And how would you know if they were oily enough?
I'll show you. Just keep on pulsing that until it creates like a meal. Yeah. See, that's not gonna do it.
Okay, it's too fine, still crumbly.
It's never gonna stick together. So these pecans are pretty dry. We're gonna need to help that a little bit. We can also just add a little bit of salt in there. And the other thing we're gonna throw into this is a little bit of chili powder into the crust too, because it gives it just with chocolate. I find like a little bit of spice is really, really nice. And it's not too much.
Okay, I've never done that before.
No?
No, that'll be great.
You'll have to honestly let me know if you
Oh,
like
I
it or
will.
not.
When you need to use an oil, Jeremy, do you usually use your go-to coconut oil?
Yeah, it's not as overly processed as a lot of other oils. So you still get some of the nutrients in here where like stuff like olive oil and canola oil, they're all stripped out. Where this is a bit healthier than some of the other oils, I find. Because what you'll find is it's just once we start blending them, it's how well it sticks together.
Okay,
and if
so
you can push it and it holds, that's all you need. Just that little bit.
Yeah. Oh, what a difference.
It's already stuck together. That's our crust. We take this out first so we don't have a medical emergency. Yes. And then we're just going to press that down into, I'm hoping this is going to be fine. This is a bit of a bigger tart pan than I have at home that I've made mine in, but it should be all right. So you literally just, all you got to do, if you press down, you'll feel it kind of like combining. Okay. And if you don't want to use your hand, you could always use the back of like a measuring cup or something. And also, you got to put a little bit of love into your food when you touch it.
Yeah, I agree totally. If you had someone with a nut allergy, would you use a flour with this or no?
I would use seeds.
Okay.
As long as you don't have a seed allergy, so you can use pumpkin seeds, or you could use sesame seeds, sunflower seeds. Sesame seeds would probably, I wouldn't use sesame seeds. Sunflower seeds would work well.
Okay.
And you could also probably use hemp seeds, although that would be on the expensive side because hemp seeds aren't cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also maybe you just wouldn't make a nut. You'd make it just like a one with flour or something like that.
Okay.
We'll clean this up and then we're gonna make the filling. We melted the chocolate in the microwave. If you've never done this before, for those watching, 30 seconds at a time, and you just keep on stirring it until it's
good.
Basically like that.
Semi-sweet.
This is non-dairy
Okay.
dark chocolate.
Okay.
So
very good.
maybe a little bit more bitter. Did you like dark chocolate?
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, you're having it tonight.
No, we do.
We're gonna blend this together with the soft or silken tofu, a little bit of vanilla, and a little bit of salt. Plop all the tofu in.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it really is so much softer than the other package.
Try not to get the liquid with it.
Oh, sorry. That's me, the newbie.
That's okay.
The newbie tofu cook.
The tofu adds like a bunch of protein to it. So if you're having like a lighter meal, which we kind of are tonight, it helps fill you up as well. Pinch of salt, and then a cap full of vanilla will do.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now that really does look yummy, doesn't it? Who doesn't love chocolate? I can see that the consistency is like that.
Yeah, and so we just want to leave this go for probably a minute or two, and then it'll just blend really nicely, and then we're just going to pour that into that tart pan, and then just let it sit for as long as we can. That's why whenever someone says, I don't like tofu, I just go, that's like saying I don't like air. It's just, tofu doesn't generally have much of a flavor, so all it does is just take on flavors, right? So I like to say that if you don't like tofu, you haven't figured out how to cook with it properly.
I may be guilty of doing that.
That's okay. So one thing you've learned today is add chocolate to it.
Okay.
The other thing that I've done a lot too is like taking like a regular, like a firm tofu, and just grate it with like a cheese grater, like a box grater, and shreds.
Yeah.
And then toss that with like a rub of any kind, and you can almost make like pulled pork.
Wow.
And you can use that for like inside tacos as well, or just for a pulled pork sandwich if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
We'll throw this in the fridge, and then we bring it out later. We'll throw some fresh raspberries. We'll put on top.
Oh, that is so yummy. That is delicious.
Oh, that's delicious.
Well, what's going to be even better is that once the little tart, because you can get a little hit of fat and spice with it too, so it just kind of rounds it all out. So we're going to getting ready for the tofu clam chowder. And what we're going to do is we're going to press the tofu, and you've heard of it, but you don't know what it is.
Yes, I've heard of it, and I've looked at recipes doing that, but I have no idea what that actually means.
You'll see people argue on the internet about whether or not you need to press tofu. The reason why you might want to press it is if you want to change the texture a little bit for it.
Okay,
Because what it does is it just pushes out the liquid a little bit more.
Okay.
It's also good if you wanted to marinate the tofu in like some kind of a stock or like a sweet and sour marinade or whatever kind of marinade. Because tofu is kind of like a sponge. so it'll soak up other flavors.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've already pressed some of the liquid out of it, it just leaves room for it to fill up with more other liquids, right?
Okay, yeah.
But some people would argue that it'll soak up those liquids anyway. But the reason why we're going to press it today is because this tofu is going to take the place of our clam.
Yeah.
In the clam chowder. And so what we want to do is create a texture that's more clam-like.
Okay.
So that's a bit tougher. If you can get me 2 just like small plates.
Sure.
And then like a heavy cookbook or 2. We're gonna wrap the tofu just in like a regular kitchen cloth. And that's what's gonna like hold on to the moisture for us.
Would this be similar to what you would do, when you use a cheesecloth sometimes and you're removing excess
liquid?
Yeah. Same kind of thing?
It's a similar process, but because it's not liquid, like usually you would do that with something that's more liquid.
Yeah.
Probably. So it's definitely a similar process. So this is like taking place of like a cheesecloth or a nut milk bag. Put another plate on top, something heavy, just to help weigh it down.
Okay. And how long would that process take?
You can leave this for as long as you want. Like we'll just leave this now for probably half an hour or so, and that'll be enough. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it into cubes, and then we're gonna bake it in the oven anyway. What's gonna happen and how it's gonna get that clam texture is the oven is gonna kind of dry it out a little bit, and it's almost, you're gonna look at it and be like, that looks tough to eat. But because we're gonna put it into the soup later, it's gonna rehydrate it. So it'll get softer, but it'll still have a bit of a texture to it that'll be more like clam.
I'm very excited to try it.
Have you ever made like a clam chowder before?
I have.
I've never had, but I do make a tofu clam chowder.
Yeah.
Ours is, mushrooms, carrots, celery, onions. Is this familiar? Is this what you would put in yours?
Yeah, and I would saute it in like butter, but you probably aren't going to do that, right?
Not going to use butter at all. The fat we're going to use for this is cashews. So they're already soaking. So while this is going, we're going to get the vegetables going. And while that's happening, at some point you've got a blender over there. So at some point we'll make the cashew cream while the vegetables are going, and then we'll put that in after, along with the tofu. So the tofu is already in the oven, and it's firming up and kind of dehydrating a little bit. But then we're just going to start throwing all this stuff in. So if you want to throw those mushrooms in.
Absolutely.
And I'm not using any oil or anything, especially because mushrooms will just start releasing their own little heat.
This feels almost foreign to me to be sauteing vegetables and not having a butter or an oil in there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it adds a flavor element, I get that for sure. I just don't ever find you need...
You need it. It's just excessive.
You can use a little bit of water. So we'll keep doing that until they kind of soften up a little bit, and then we're going to add the onions, celery, and carrots.
Very good.
And then we're just going to keep stirring that for like 5 minutes, just until they're softened a little bit.
Okay. Celery and onions always smell so good when they're sauteing.
Everything in this recipe is doubled because we're making it for a bunch of people. You could use a non-dairy milk if you want. I'm just going to use water today. Yeah. And that's like a half a cup of cashews. And then we're going to add to that miso paste. And I'll let you blend that up for me. What makes this filling, because it's like, I know a lot of people go, well, I can't get full on just vegetables, right? It's like the cashew cream and the tofu. Like, those are the kind of things that are going to add like a satiating value that fills you up, right? So that you can just, 80% of the meal is vegetables, but it's those elements that are going to keep you full.
Yeah.
We added the garlic.
Okay.
We stepped away for a second.
So this is vegetable stock?
Just vegetable stock.
Okay.
Who has that tofu look?
How does it look? Does it look like a chit?
Longer. Let's do that even for another 10 minutes, actually.
10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes at 400.
Do you always bake it before like a...
Depends what I'm going to use it for. Like if I was going to put it into a stir fry or something like that, I'd probably bake it in. I might even, if you really want with tofu to add a little bit more flavor to it, you can just take it out of its package, get rid of all the excess liquid that's inside of it, and then make a marinade. And any marinade that you would use for like a steak or a chicken, you can use that same thing. Just use the exact same marinade.
And then fry.
Yeah, or you could fry it. You could bake it. However
Barbecue.
Barbecue it after the marinade. Just basically, you can treat it however you'd want to use meat. But for that, you'd want to use an extra firm tofu, right? Because anything else will fall apart. But extra firm tofu will hold its shape. So this is going, and now, while this is gonna go, I want to get this up to a boil, and we're gonna let it sit for like 15 minutes or so.
When do you add the potatoes to it?
We're gonna add, you know what? Right now, thank you. And the seasonings.
Okay.
We got talking, and I got distracted. Thank you. So this is thyme, mustard, and paprika. The other entree, we're gonna make tacos, and the tacos, I'm gonna make like a kind of a meaty crumble that's going to be made with walnuts and cauliflower. We're going to make that right now.
Walnuts is a great ingredient to use when you cook plant-based, right? Like to kind of get that meaty
it's
texture.
And it's got a fatty flavor too,
yeah,
right? So it gives you that grizzly.
How's that?
Yes, it's going to keep, as it cools a bit, it's going to keep going up. So let's leave it there.
I have never made tacos like this before. This is so interesting.
You know what? I'm going to change this up. I think we only need to do over one. That's okay. Let's get it in there. Perfect.
And then how long?
10 minutes.
That looks amazing.
There was a head of cauliflower over there. If someone wants to just kind of break that up a little bit, just roughly, we're going to throw it into a food processor so it doesn't have to be pretty. Did they?
I think, no?
Nope. So this is a fail. That is too bad. Okay, plan B, I'm gonna do these in a frying pan after. Yeah, no, don't do it. I'll do it. I have my skin's all dead. That's all right.
My skin is dead.
I played guitar for years. I'll want one. You want one? Sure. Tacos are perfect. Our B plan for it is we're just gonna like take a frying pan and just warm them up for like 30 seconds aside. Let's start making our taco meat.
Okay.
So those are in there. Oh yeah, this kitchen was gorgeous before I came in here and destroyed it. Put in too much cauliflower and add some more walnuts.
Okay. And how would you know that?
The color. So part of it is, it's not dissimilar to when we were doing that crust earlier.
Yeah.
It's not going to stick together. Okay. So the fat from the walnut is going to help with the cauliflower sticking together. But this is pretty good now. This would be just a good base if you want to do any kind of seasoning. So now is where you make it flavorized. So because we're doing a Thai flavoring, I'm going to add stuff like fresh ginger, lime juice, some soy sauce, and then some like coriander, onion powder, garlic powder, and maybe a little bit of chili powder. Just add a little bit, a slight heat element to it. Nothing too much, just give it a little zip. And then we're just going to blend that all together in there. Because this isn't ground beef, it's not going to hurt you if you add it raw.
Yeah.
So at this point, you can get a sense of is it too spicy? Is it not spicy enough? Do you want to add more lime? Do you want to add more of anything?
Oh, that's yummy.
That's delicious.
I like the spices.
It's just got a little bit. It's saying hello. It's not slapping you.
Yeah.
You want more. I see you're pounding with a spoon. Wait until it's warm. We're going to spread it out over a baking sheet. And so what happens here is the cauliflower is a baseless nothing flavor. So the cauliflower is taking on the body and the volume, where the walnut is adding fat and the binding agent, right? To kind of make all together. So what we're going to do is we'll bake this for 20 minutes, and then when it beeps, we'll kind of shuffle it all around. So that way it is... it kind of breaks apart. It's not dissimilar to if you've ever made granola, where you want to break it apart halfway through.
Yeah.
And it smells like meat.
Yeah. It's got without like the greasy,
Yeah.
greasy element of it, right? And that's going to be the meat basis for our taco.
So you're saying that this cauliflower walnut base can be used for different recipes, right? The different spices, different things, just as a meat base, right?
If you wanted to make like a bolognese, if you wanted to, you could use this and just use like Italian seasonings, right? Maybe put some tomato paste in there, and that'll give it a little bit more body and help it stick together a bit more. Whatever kind of flavors you want. You just kind of take the spices of that cuisine and throw it into the stage, and it's all going to blend together. Now we're going to do the finishing touches on the soup by adding in the cream, the tofu, and then just a little bit of apple cider vinegar to finish it off. So I'll throw the apple cider vinegar in first so it mixes in nicely. I'm just using the cap. This is basically a tablespoon worth. I'm eyeballing it because that's kind of how I...
Perfect. And what will the apple cider vinegar do to it?
It'll just balance it out a little bit.
Okay.
It'll kind of give it a little more body to it as well. And then we'll throw that cashew
Do you have to do it
cream in.
slowly?
Great. Oh, the color is transforming before our very eyes.
Look at that.
And also that apple cider vinegar is going to help with the kind of clam chowdery flavor too.
Yeah.
And if you just want to dump all that tofu in now,
Yeah.
it's basically ready any time, but I like to let it sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes to let let it cool down, but also let that tofu just start to soak up some of those flavors too. But otherwise,
It's ready to go. Oh, that is very delicious. That flavor is really good.
Yes,
Delicious.
I love it.
Okay. Do you use that miso in a lot of your cooking when you cook? Is that like a staple?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'll use miso in place of salt, especially anywhere I want to add a bit of the umami. So it's good in soups or stews and that kind of stuff because it just melts in, right?
Yeah.
And it blends in, and you don't need a lot. Like here, I use 2 tablespoons because we made a giant
Big
pot of
pot.
soup. Yeah. But start off. It's also the kind of thing you just add a little bit,
Taste
give it a taste,
Yeah.
add a little more. You
Yeah.
know, same as anything.
Oh, it's very, very good.
Great. So now we're gonna make the slaw for the tacos. I went with the purple on purpose. It's gonna be pretty. What we're gonna do for the slaw is it's just gonna be cabbage and carrots. It's just gonna be this with the peach just mixed up inside of it, and the peach will have enough of a little juice to it. And then the peanut sauce will go over top. So it's kind of like layering flavors. So what do you think, Keith? More and more peach, right?
Yeah.
So let's make the sauce.
Okay.
I already put the peanut butter in there.
Yep.
2 tablespoons of water.
Okay.
2 tablespoons of lime juice.
Okay.
Those garlics that are right there.
Okay. And all of this ginger, Jeremy?
All that ginger. No one's going to be upset about that.
Okay. 1 tablespoon?
1 tablespoon of
Okay.
that. Yeah. You could, in theory, if you like grated up, if you minced your garlic and did all that kind of fancy stuff, you could just probably stir this together, but I'm lazy. And so I didn't, this will chop up my garlic for me and do all the other things. And even like we had already minced the ginger for other purposes, but you could also just throw in like a knob of ginger and it'll blend it up if you're doing something like this as well. Just grab a little with your finger and give it a shot.
Oh, that's yummy.
Really good.
Oh, really good.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have such a good dinner,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
and if you wanted to, like I might at home, I might add a hit of sriracha to this.
Oh, I would too.
Do more kick.
Okay.
Boil up some soup and you guys can get
Okay, I
started.
got soup bowls on the table.
And then Ephraim and I are also gonna have some soup while we're cleaning up and continuing to cook in here. Tastes like crap, right? So gross. No, it's delicious. I haven't had this in a long time. I forgot how good it is.
We should make it more.
We should. Do you like it? Ephraim's nodding.
Yeah.
How are the first bites? I've never been that
It is
person.
amazing.
Yeah.
Great flavor. Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
Very good flavor. Really good.
And you don't use salt?
No salt. There's no salt in there. It's just miso paste, which is fermented soybean. So they're... Thanks, Ephraim. So they're starting to eat. So I'm going to finish up everything in here. So how the tacos work is that basically you're going to put on that walnut cauliflower meat with this slaw. And then we're going to drizzle it with this peanut sauce at the end. I'm so good. You're so lucky. I have no modesty. This is an amazing dish. Mmm. The peaches was Ephraim's idea last time we had these.
Mine.
Also, let us know down below what you think of Ephraim's camera work so far. He's been taping this whole thing for me. Okay. These are Thai tacos. So it's like taking the idea of a taco and giving it like a Thai twist. So instead of like ground beef, we've got a crumble made with cauliflower, walnuts, and spices.
Fantastic.
So so all the tastes, none of the grease. We're gonna call it, right?
Okay.
We heard on a TV that person, Mary's Kitchen, if you have a watch, she said that it's also good coconut to give a substitute.
Walnuts.
Coconut would work too. Yeah. If you're allergic to nuts, coconut, you can use coconut as well too. Yeah, it's great. Normally I would make this with mango, this slaw, but because it's standard peach season, my son, it was Ephraim's idea to use peaches today.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So here's the moment of truth. So we'll see
Okay.
if this thing's set or not.
Oh, I think so.
Now
Beautiful.
I got a ring on my arm. No, I brought this in from Sobeys. No, Karen made most of this. I instructed her. So this is a tofu chocolate mousse tart. So it's made with chocolate chips and silken tofu that Rob grabbed from the store because I brought the wrong kind.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Thank you, thank you.
This cake is just outstanding.
Yeah?
It is.
It is so good. So good.
I would have never thought, but it's absolutely.
You never thought it was made with tofu.
Yeah,
No.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And now Rob knows where to buy it at the grocery store. This is a win-win, Jeremy.
Yeah. Do you taste the chili?
The chocolate is. Yeah, just.
Yeah, every once you get a little hint.
A little bit.
It's really good. Jeremy, I think you guys should have that piece.
Oh, well, if you guys insist.
Yeah.
Is it as good as it always been?
Yep.
Right, you gotta save that other raspberry for me. I'm tired. That was a lot. That was a busy day. And the kitchen is not as messy as it could have been because Karen's been following us around cleaning. This was fun. Thank you, Ephraim, for taping for me. If you like this sort of thing and maybe want me to do more of it, I'll consider it. Let me know in the comments down
He's a lot
below.
of family members.
He wants me to do it with my aunts and my sister, so let me know if you think that's a good idea.
Yes.
Do it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so now. And YouTube wants you to watch, wait, what corner? Maybe this corner? Why don't you watch this video right here?
Or this corner, or like down there.
Or over? Well, we'll put it in one of these corners.
Both of these videos.
Maybe there's two videos up there.
And like the thing in the middle, like right here.
I don't know where we're gonna put it now. Thanks.